Hello and welcome to the business segment with me, Francisca Kakra-Forsen. The Monetary Policy Committee of Bank of Ghana is keeping the lending rate at 22%. This, they say, is because of threats to inflation. Let's hear Governor Dr. Kofi Wampa.
According to the Bank of Ghana, the fiscal consolidation observed since the beginning of the year has continued. For the period between January and April 2015, the total revenue and grants exceeded targets while expenditure were broadly on target. These developments, according to Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Kofi Wampa, resulted in a fiscal deficit of 2% of GDP within the program target of 2.6% GDP.
Of course, we would continue to have a tight monetary policy stance, but that will also would also take into account any developments during the period. Because our main target is bringing down the inflation rate. If we think that the current stance is not going to achieve that or will not deliver that lower inflation rate, then of course we would even tighten further. But if it is clear that yes, the current stance is working, then we would consider otherwise. So it depends upon developments in the market.
Dr. Wampa also announced that the country's debt to GDP ratio has increased by 1%, currently standing at 67.1%. If
you look at what is happening to the fiscal, we are estimating under the IMF program, of course, we've estimated that there will be further fiscal improvements. I think the 2017 target deficit is below 4%. So if we have a period where that is, first the debt to GDP ratio will start declining, and then we will see that stability. Inflation will come down, and that stability will be there. People will believe that whatever money they have in cedis will not lose value over the period. So that demand for foreign currency will be reduced.
He also announced the central bank will, in the next few weeks, among other initiatives, merge the monetary policy rate with the reverse repo rate within the next 30 days. The merger of the rates would be immediately followed by the introduction of a 7-day reverse repo instrument in the money market to offer more flexibility in the liquidity management of banks.
The month of June saw another increase in the inflation rate. It shot up from 16.9% in May to 17.1% in June. The Statistical Service has attributed this partly to the increase in the cost of fuel, transport and electricity. Government statistician Dr. Philomena Nyako cited the depreciation of the cedi in June for the increase in the inflation rate.
For non-food inflation rates, the main drivers were transport 25.5%, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels 24.8%, education 24.6%, and clothing and footwear 24.3%. For the food inflation rate, the price drivers were coffee, tea and cocoa 17.1%, mineral water, soft drinks, fruits and vegetable juices 16.2%, sugar, jam, honey, confectionery, and chocolate 15.2%, and food products not elsewhere classified 14.9%, meat and meat products 13.9%, milk, cheese, and eggs 12.3%, and cereals and cereal products 8.3%.
There was a standoff between workers of Starwin Products Limited and the police earlier today. The police, acting on a court order, prevented workers there from entering the premises. This is the second time that workers have demonstrated against a merger with pharmaceutical giants and giants also known as Danex. The workers, who say they are minority shareholders, have secured an injunction against the takeover. And my colleague Francis Aban has just returned from there. Francis, you've been speaking to the workers. What more have they been saying?
Well, they say that yesterday they closed work at about 5 p.m., came back this morning just before 6, and they realized that the main entrance was locked. They did not know who had done it, but the policemen were there ensuring that they do not walk in. They inquired and they were told that Danex had secured a court order which gave them the right to control whatever happens at the premises. And so their first decision was to not allow any other person to enter the premises. And so they did not understand what was happening because they were told by their leadership that following that court order, their leadership had gone to secure an injunction against that decision, and so they did not understand what was happening. And that's why they were up and down this morning against the police this morning.
In our conversation before coming to the studio, you talked about growing tensions, and it took the intervention of General Secretary of the ICU, Solomon Kote, to resolve things.
Yes,
Tell us how that went.
When they got there, and per what the workers tell me, they were getting pretty angry because no one was telling them what was happening. The police were very firm, saying that they would not allow anyone to go in. So they started shouting, chanting. Things were getting pretty heated until the General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Solomon Kote, arrived. When he arrived, he met the leadership of the police service, and they indicated to him the orders under which they were working, the document they had, for which reason they would not allow these workers to go in. He saw the document, presented the injunction they had secured, and said, look guys, we have the document to support everything, so allow the workers to go in and work. And so after that discussion, he led the workers into the premises, after which he met them and addressed their concerns, told them that in clear terms, they know that the matter is in court. This will be the 4th time that they have been sent to court over this same issue of the merger. And so they are expecting that some work is done. Their lawyers will go back to court and ensure that all the legal processes are sorted out so we don't see more of these things happening.
Okay, thank you very much. That's my colleague Francis. Francis, you have a good day. Thanks for passing through. Now, an Accra High Court has adjourned hearing of the case brought by SIC Insurance to stop Ivory Finance from selling the bank's assets. Ivory Finance secured a court order to take over and sell SIC's assets to offset a debt of 232 million cedis owed them. But the state insurer is seeking a suspension of the judgment. Let's get the latest from court with my colleague George Riafe. Hello, George. Tell us what happened in court. Okay, we do not have George Riafe on the line, but join us again at midday. We'll get you the details on that. But I'm Francisca Kakrafosen, and that has been the business segment. Thank you.